Hello, if you're a local business in SA and you want Vince and I to join you on site for one of our live recording sessions of our podcast Livin', please reach out to us at hello@livinpodcast.com.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity for expanded reach, customer interactions, and some authentic storytelling opportunities for your brand and business.
Not to mention fun.
Of course, it's fun. So email us today at hello@livinpodcast.com or via Instagram @livin_podcast, and we'll see you on site really soon. Let's talk about motherhood.
Okay. Motherhood. Just wait.
Am I living? Oh, what a funny thing to say.
I wonder how long this dodgy tat will last.
We said, look up into the sky, find the sun on a cloudy day, on a cloudy day. We said, look up into the sky, find the sun on a cloudy day, on a cloudy day.
Talking about that tat,
Yeah.
I was thinking last night as I scrubbed it.
What?
Scrubbed
You
it
weren't
off
scrubbing
of...
my tat last
No,
night.
not your
Thank
tat.
you very
Good,
much.
thanks.
I mean, is that a euphemism for
I'll
something?
say, doesn't that sound like it? No, I was just saying, I was thinking as I scrubbed it off my son's
Yes.
forearm, I would hate to be the parent who had to scrub it off their son's forehead
Well,
yesterday.
this is where you needed to reach out to me and ask. You just get some oil, people.
I knew you were going to say that. As I did it, I was like,
Oil.
I reckon Nancy will be there with oil getting
I've
this
got an
done.
oil for everything. But
You
welcome
are a
to
beauty.
another episode of Livin' for your Monday morning. You're here with Nancy Timpano.
And Vince Fusco, but it's not just the two of us in the room today.
No, there is definitely a very special guest. And as you hear in our welcoming song there from Livin', look up into the sky and it speaks about mamas, and that is today's topic.
Mamas.
Motherhood, because yesterday was
Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all of the mums out there. Happy Mother's Day to
Day.
my mum and my
Yeah,
wife and my sisters and yourself.
my mum.
Mother's Day.
Yes, my mum. Yes. But I reached out to you a few weeks ago, Vince, and I said, Vince, I've got an idea.
Always.
That happens
Yep.
often. And I said, Mother's Day, special edition, special guest, a mother of 4 girls, a full-time working mum, busy. I said, Vince, Jodie Oddy.
And I said, perfect. And so we are thrilled to have you here today joining us on Livin'. Jodie Oddy, welcome to the Livin' podcast. Yep.
Welcome, Jodie, and thank you.
All the crowd in the bleachers. Round of applause.
Thank you for being so willing to come on. When I sent you a message, you were like, yeah, I'll do it. And I just thought I couldn't think of anyone better, to be honest.
Full disclosure, you and I have been friends for how many years?
I know. We both worked for the same radio station many years ago, and we've discussed this separate topic before about people that maybe are in high places or high profile positions that have always just been good humans.
People who can,
And I spoke
you look
about
up
you
to
on
them
our
and-
Good Humans
That's
episode.
right.
I did
You
hear
did.
that. Thank
I
you very
did.
much for your kind words.
Because, you start a new job and you're kind of like, I don't know, I won't say a lackey, but compared to some, you're thinking like, well, I'm a bit not important. But
Boots on the
not-
ground kind of stuff.
Yeah,
It's boots on the ground.
but as soon as I met you, Jodie, there was just none of it. I was like, she's just treating me normal.
See, can I
Yeah.
talk to you about that?
Ooh,
Because
talk
people
to me.
think in radio stations that the people on air think that they're so much more important than other people. Absolutely not.
And this is you.
But this is, that was in your head, never in mine. I don't walk around there going, oh my God, because I'm on the radio, I'm so much better than everyone else.
You definitely
So
don't.
it's funny, like people put that label
Yeah.
on me and I'm like, God, that's
No.
Rubbish. That's
and
rubbish.
It makes me very angry when people who are in that position treat other people like the receptionist, like they're less than.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, fuck off. You're not.
This is
You're not
the
better.
thing.
100%.
No.
You're not better.
And it takes a team of people to make something like a radio show run smoothly.
I couldn't do what I do without the people around me.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it is 100% a team effort.
Yeah.
And they spend their days doing longer hours than me, probably getting paid a little bit less than me to make me look good. I'm very cognizant of that. And when people take the piss out of that, it really annoys me.
Oh,
Totally,
I
see?
told you. That's
It's
why
awareness.
I love her.
Absolutely.
Love us a good human, Jodie Oddy. Thank you for joining us on Livin'. Today's topic is motherhood, but what we wanted to talk about today is like a modern day take on motherhood, because motherhood for our mums,
Very different.
very different to what it looks
Can I
like
ask
today.
you about
Yes.
that? What did it look like for your mums?
Well,
Totally.
yes, Mum had 5 kids and she worked on the land because we had a 21-acre orchard at the time, and she also went off and worked full-time in the meatworks, came home. I had an older sibling who was 10 years older than me that would often be the stay-home mum at 10 years old. During the school holidays, we were left with Lena to look after us because Mum had to work because there were so many of us.
So a 10-year-old was in charge.
Pretty much, yes.
Isn't that wild when you think about
Absolutely
it now? Like
crazy.
a 10-year-old?
With the doors open, you know what I mean?
Oh, the doors were never locked
None
at
of
home.
this, it looked very, very different. But even my mum, compared to maybe some mums that would just stayed at home
Yeah.
and I'm not saying just as in just because
no.
that's full time. But yeah, Mum, that was my mum's experience, and your mum's was probably...
Ours was a bit like similar and different. So 5 kids as well, married very young.
Yes.
So Mum was 18.
How young?
18.
Yeah.
Dad was 20 when they got married.
Wasn't that a thing back then?
Oh, yeah.
Totally.
My mum had 3 kids by the time she was 21.
See?
Wow. So that's
Wow.
even that, like they had my sister my elder sister, there's 21 years between the eldest and youngest in our family. There's 5 kids as well.
Wow, 21.
21 years. So it was, Sonia was born when they were 19.
Yep.
You know what I mean? They were married 1970,
Yeah.
1971, first baby,
Yeah.
19 and 21-year-olds. Then they,
Isn't
isn't that wild?
And that can be frowned upon in some cases, but I
think at the
spin
time
it
it wasn't.
now because I feel like I'm such an old mum of a younger person. I just think, if I was 19 and had like a 20, can you imagine the fun?
But I think yes and no. I think I can. But even then, like I think, and we'll talk about age in parenthood. I think definitely as we move
Yes.
through the conversation today,
Interesting.
because
I
that's
came into the picture when you wanted to talk about older mothers.
no, that's
I
not the
get
case
that.
at all.
I take the cake. I
But
reckon.
like mum had the 3 girls first.
Yes.
And between them there's like 6 to 8 years difference. And then I came 8 years after the sister, my last sister, but they were told they actually couldn't have any more kids. Mum only just said this to me the other day again. So Mum was working right up until she had me. She was still working. She had a doll shop and she used to crochet and knit babies' clothes. She had a baby clothing shop for a while. Dad was always working. We only saw Dad at dinner time.
Yeah,
That's just
right.
how it worked.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
Mum, when she had me, she was working at the airport for Ansett at the time, and then she left work
Set.
when she had me, and then after me, 5 years later, got pregnant with my brother. But then also, doctors had said, you can't have any more kids. You shouldn't have any more kids.
Yeah.
It's probably not going to be good for both of you. And luckily, we have my little brother who came
Wow.
5 years later, all healthy, bundle of joy. But then my mum actually got sick, which we've talked about
Yeah.
a little bit with the stomach cancer. So Mum's motherhood journey there was sort of put on pause. My brother went into care, like childcare
Yes.
for a bit. But having 3 older sisters, a bit like you, Nance,
Yes.
we had 4 mums.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the mum always says famously, when I was a baby, the first boy as well, my sisters used to handball me around.
Yeah.
Like they would just be like, I want him, I want him, I want him. And it's so lovely. And we were the same with my brother. So we were very
Is
lucky
it lovely, or do you to this day feel like a Sharon?
No, well, only when they still pick me up with one hand and punt me with the other. But it's, my memories of Mum were always from that, from growing up after me. She was home. She was a mother who maintained the house. You'd wake up at 6 o'clock, the laundry's going,
Yes.
dinner's cooking for
Yeah.
the whole army.
That's right.
And like I said, Dad would sort of walk in at 6:30 after
With a
having
meal
shower,
on the table.
and he would sit at the table the first time
Yeah.
we'd see him all day, and he'd be
Yeah.
like, "All right, how are we all?"
Here's the stable table, doll.
Yeah.
Every time if I've even thought about complaining to my mum when I was pregnant or whatever, she'd say, the morning you were born, I was picking peas. She'd say
Really?
she was on the land picking peas. And
love
I'm
that.
thinking like she probably just dropped me out, didn't realise because I was 5. She probably didn't even feel it.
But I think
She
motherhood
was
has...
like, something's back there, love.
And I'm not going to comment too much on, I suppose, the motherhood side
Yeah.
of things, because I definitely think that the gender roles, the stereotypes have shifted dramatically over the last, let's say, 50 years, and probably still not enough.
Yeah.
But I look at it as like we're a modern day family at home with me and Joya and the
Yes.
2 boys.
Oh,
and
you are.
and
Yeah.
Joya works still, and even she's currently having this discussion, an internal battle with herself of like, how much career do I really want to have versus like I feel like I'm missing out on their childhood, and you're getting to do a bit more of it now with like running my own business. I have that flexibility, and we can see that. She's like, I want to cook the dinners and I want to do the
Yeah.
pickups, but I also want to excel
Come
at
and
my
cook my
job.
dinners, Joya.
Yeah, no, she can cook. We know that she cooks a great dish. But, let's talk about that, I suppose. Like,
Yeah.
Jodie, what's it like for you? Because you have early mornings with radio morning and...
Yeah. So just going back to what you just said, It's an interesting one, isn't it, Nance? Because back in the day when mothers were just mothers and they had the apron on and they stayed home and they cooked the dad the meal because he was out working. And then we were like, no, that's bullshit. We want more. We want to be able to go to work. We want to be able to pursue our dreams. And so that happened.
Yeah.
Good thanks, pat on the back. But now I feel like we're in a situation where we've got everything we wanted, but do we want it? Because we're in the workforce now pursuing all our dreams and we're expected to be boss bitches there.
Yeah.
But also, who's doing the stuff at home? Oh, guess what? You're still going to do most of that.
Absolutely.
And the stats say it's women doing the majority of the household chores.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think it's just been the biggest rort of the system that we're like, you guys can go and work, go on work full time, but all that stuff at home, you're still going to do that as well.
That's exactly right.
And we're exhausted now.
Yes.
We are exhausted.
And I've got 1. You have 4.
I've got 4, but I also have a husband that definitely doesn't fit into that category of doesn't do anything at home. In fact, we're in a unique situation that he takes the load off my plate.
Yeah.
He does all the school drop-offs in the morning.
And we're talking about Greg here,
beautiful
another
Greg.
friend of mine who we were all working at the same place for a while there. And so, yes, Greg, very supportive.
Oh, incredibly supportive.
Yeah.
He organises all the kids' birthday parties. He's involved in all the netball chats, which the notifications do my head in. So like, you deal with all of that, the school sport.
Yeah.
He's incredible, but I'm also very aware that he's a bit of a unicorn. Like most women are doing it without that backup.
Yeah.
And he's a smart man because he will sit there and say, Jodes doesn't have the mental capacity to she can't do it all. She can't do the radio, she can't do the TV and be as present doing the home stuff, which is good and bad. It makes me sad. And I don't think there's a woman out there alive who hasn't thought, fuck, do I really want this career? Does it really mean that much to me?
Yeah.
And I couldn't do it without him. Absolutely not.
That's amazing. But talk us through your days. Can you just give us a bit of a rundown? What does your week look like?
We sit down on a Sunday. Oh, my God. If you saw my diary, if you saw our count, you would laugh your head off.
Okay, now going back just a minute, is it on your phone or is it written?
No, I'm an old school.
Yes, I had a feeling. I'm like, yes.
I love that for you. I can't do the written calendar. People sending me calendar invites and I'm like,
Yeah. Nancy will tell you I'm a hybrid.
He's a tech
My
man.
personal diary is handwritten.
how
but
are
my
you two
family,
even sitting next to each other?
I know.
But
we're
this
a
is
yin and
why
yang.
we're actually,
It works.
perfect.
Yeah.
It's
Correct.
perfect.
Whereas as soon as we say we're going to lock in a recording, straight away she gets the ding, a little e-calendar invite from me.
I know how to accept now.
Do you need me to punch him in the face? I will.
He presses
please
the
don't.
buttons and I push the buttons.
That's
So
right.
it's all
That's
good.
right. But
It's
it
all
depends
good.
on we use the e-calendar, the phone calendar, Joy and I, for our family calendar. So for us, it's more like that's how we schedule between like work meetings and where the kids are and everything. But then our personal
Gen
ones
X.
are both handwritten. Like she has her big
Yes.
diary that she.
We've got the good old-fashioned
silly.
calendar in the kitchen.
I'm
And
sh-
you can
Yes.
custom
I
order
love
them
it.
with a different
I've
name.
got.
Yes.
I'm showing you. That's what we've got around the corner
love that.
because we've got Eugene, Nancy, Jaden,
yeah.
and it's all there.
Yeah, I've got Greg, Jodie,
Yeah.
Peyton, Summer, Taylor, Harper. It's a
Beautiful
very big
names.
calendar.
Yours is
Yeah.
bigger than mine.
Yeah, no, oh, thank you.
It's not the size; it's how you use it, ladies.
Well, Greg, you're really getting a shout out today.
Oh,
Anyway, blushing. But it's funny because now sometimes I'm out and Vince might ring me and he'll go, Nance, are you free on Thursday, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'll check when I get home.
Yes,
because
I'm
I
the
don't know.
same.
Yeah.
Oh, babe, I'm the same.
I'm like, I'll check when I get home because it's very clear at home.
Yeah.
Can't think when I'm not in front of the
100%.
calendar.
And Greg will try and pull out his electric calendar on his laptop. I'm like, don't.
No.
No. I need the physical and I need the
Yes.
dates. I need it all laid out in front of me. Anyway, so it's
Your day, your
it's-
week.
It's ridiculous. So between school sport, school activities, my work, his work, he runs his own business, social stuff, which we don't do too much of anymore. But it's hectic. So a typical day though, it depends. There's days with Channel 10 and days without Channel 10.
Yep, okay.
Normal radio day is alarms at 4.
Yep.
4:15 if I'm
Okay.
feeling generous and wanting
Yeah.
a bit of, self-love, self-care.
Yeah, snooze.
So starts at 4 and then we do the show, go in, do any pre-recording we need to do the show, do a bit of planning. And then normally those days aren't so bad. home by 11, try and squeeze a nap in before the kids come home at 3. Otherwise, I have no patience or tolerance because you're so tired.
But just wait. So it sounds like, oh, beauty, home by 11. But hello, 4 to 11 is 7 hours.
You've still done a 7-hour day before
Like
most
you've
people
done a
had lunch.
7-hour
Mate,
day.
I've done a full day of work before you've had your Weet-Bix.
But
Yeah.
But this is what I'm saying. It sounds like, oh, you know, okay, she's home by 11, but you've done 7 hours work.
Yeah, and I think it's the exhaustion and the tiredness that gets you in the end, especially when you're dealing with kids at the other end of the day. But I make it a priority to do some exercise every day.
Yes, you do. You've always, even before we worked together, I always would see you at the gym.
Yeah, it's mental health for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's an hour of endorphins, naturally produced endorphins, and I try and sneak that in once a day. But the Channel 10 days are difficult because that's leave the house just before 5 and get home sometimes 6:37. So, and I was doing too much between you and me.
Oh, really?
No,
jeez.
no. In terms of days, I was doing 3 or 4 days a week of those days.
Yeah,
and
they're big days.
It just got to the point where I'm not kissing my kids goodnight, you know, and I'm not present. I'm exhausted, so I had to scale back. And 10 have been really good with me. 10 have been freaking incredible, actually.
You've always said that.
Oh, it's hands down the best newsroom in the state.
Yeah, you've always said that.
And everyone agrees with that too, even in the rival stations.
Yeah.
The atmosphere at 10 is wonderful, and that's why I've never quit it because it brings me so much joy.
Yep.
And I sit next to one of my best mates in the world, Tiff, and we just sit there and laugh our heads off all day.
That's fantastic.
That's why I keep doing it.
Yes.
But I love it. And I also, I like being a journalist.
Yeah, well, because you're good at it.
Oh, that's
it
nice.
helps.
Thank you.
It helps because, it's work, but when you're good at it, it's not, we said it yesterday at our party, never work a day and,
right. Pick
do
something
what
you love
and never work a day
never
in your life.
they
But you
say.
still get imposter syndrome.
Yeah. Oh,
We just talked about that earlier, didn't we? Well, on a
did.
different
We actually-
topic, but we're just saying how no matter how long you've done something and you know that you're very good at it, you're great at it, and you know you can do it with your eyes closed and you hear the feedback, but then there are days where you wake up and you're like, am I good at this? Am I actually doing everything right, or am I succeeding at life as a parent, as a career-driven person, as a, anything? And that's where that imposter syndrome comes in. But then you have to sort of look at the moment and be like, I am doing it. And that's what I try to sort of remind my wife even some days where I'm like, she'll say, am I doing it? How do I do it all? And I'm like, but you are.
Yeah.
And it might not feel like it to you right now, but that's the internal narrative or the monologue you spin. But from an outsider, like, you are doing great. And I see that with not just Joya, but like, a lot of the women in my life and men in my life. But, it's hard to do it all. And today I think there's a lot for everyone to do. So even you mentioning, Jodie, we don't do the social thing so much anymore. We feel like we're already there. And we've got a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
How old are your girls?
You're in the
Can I ask?
trenches though, man.
I know, that's what I
5
feel
and
like.
3, that's a
And,
lot.
and you can already see how much they need us in this
Yes.
time, and we want to be there, that we can already be like, oh, you know what, I'm not going to go to this event today. I want to be home with the kids because I'm missing out on kissing my kids goodnight some days.
I have
and
a rule now. If someone asks me to do something, I'm like, would I rather do that or do I want to sit on the couch
Yeah.
with my kids
yes.
and cuddle them?
Kids
and
win
watch
every
TV
time,
and watch
right?
the footy, whatever. That's just the rule that I live by, and so that's why I say no.
Yep.
Which for people like us, Nance, who are people pleasers,
Yeah.
it's, a real
It's
hard.
hard.
It's
That's
hard.
100%.
It's hard to say no, and you're like, oh, but then I'm going to let that person down. Well, no, actually, if you don't see your children, you're letting them down.
Yeah.
So that's
What do you always say? Kids spell love Time.
M-E. They do.
That's a good one, isn't it?
So profound.
Yeah. And you've said that to me. We've spoken about being people pleasers many times in our years of friendship. And this is probably not a motherhood topic, but I remember sending Jodie a message once because there was just talk of possibly me doing a job. There was just talk. And I remember going, but I wonder how Jodie would feel, and she just wrote straight back to me going, sweetheart, the fact that you are just a people pleaser and you have even thought about me in this situation, go for your life.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, good human.
Oh,
like, honestly, such a beautiful, beautiful human. Very, very privileged for you to be in my circle. Yeah, no, you are. You really are. No, you are. And you're inspirational. And we spoke about just before we came on air, and I remember the day finding out that you were pregnant with number 4, with Harper.
Yeah.
And I remember
It was either that or get a dog. So I thought I was having a dog.
So I was, we were talking, I was speaking with our mutual friend, Chantel, and when she told me, I just remember going, yes! And she was just like, whoa, because you were pregnant of an older age. And I was like, and she's like, why are you so excited? And I'm like, because there's still hope.
Yeah.
There's still hope for me.
Yeah.
And you just gave me that, like, it didn't happen for me, but you gave me that inspiration, like, Nance, I don't have to give up. There's a possibility. And honestly, you just opened up the world of hope again.
Isn't that funny?
Just
though?
by your announcement.
We've been friends all these years, and I never knew that.
Yeah.
That's how that made you feel.
Oh,
so I'm pleased.
I was like, and every time from then on, when I heard that, an older woman was pregnant, I was like, yes, go guys, go. Because
that pregnancy actually came at a really if we're being honest, came at a really tumultuous time in my life, and I feel like that baby saved me in so many ways.
yeah,
I was really in quite a dark place around then.
I remember.
And things were not going well in my life. And
No.
it was, I'd say my husband was really keen on our
Yep.
third girl together. Of course, my first child is
Yep.
from a separate marriage, and he really wanted it. And I just thought, oh my God,
Oh,
I just thought at the time he's been so good to me that is a gift that I want to give him, and that's a fourth child.
yeah.
And so I said, okay, look, listen, I'll go off contraception. We'll see what happens. Let's chuck it out to the universe
Yep.
and see what the universe says. And the universe took about 28 days to answer. So I felt,
not long
I'm
at all.
sorry, I know you've had a difficult time. falling from-
that is, it's beautiful. It's
but
a beautiful
I'm
story.
so fertile, Vince. If you sneezed on me, I'd be having your baby. Like,
Okay. All right.
Okay, hey, and if you feel a sneeze,
I'll
run that
turn the
way.
other way. I'll be.
Hang on a minute.
I'm going to be totally honest. By the time that this episode comes out, I will have already had my vasectomy. So that's the point of life that we're at.
Oh,
And that's
another topic.
A different topic. Well, I haven't even said that out.
No,
I
you
only
haven't.
I told
I'm
my
a
mum
bit
the other day
shocked
because I knew that
that
mum would
you-
have something to say. She was like, "Are you sure?" But
That's a whole other-
it's a whole
Yes.
separate
Yes.
conversation. But it is, that idea of. Sorry, Jodie, to digress, but it is difficult because we were the same, as in like we were a bit like, oh, how long is this going to take? And there are friends of ours as well who's going through infertility and IVF rounds, and it takes a while, and you feel guilty,
Yeah.
isn't that
You shouldn't, but I understand how,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like
you
Jodie's
shouldn't.
saying, it's almost the same way as, she didn't know that what her journey was how it was making you feel as a friend. Like that's such a beautiful thing as well. Like you're making such an impact on those around you without
Yes.
knowing.
And I remember that time of your life, Jodie, and it was a very difficult time. I remember I sent you a message.
I think you understand the reasons why, and I've told
Oh,
you why
absolutely.
things were so dark and so bleak, and you have a very good understanding. And it's not something that I want to divulge publicly
No.
as to what I was going through, but it was
Yeah.
heinous.
Yeah. And I remember sending you a message saying, don't worry, that dogs often bark at strangers. So let the strangers bark. Because if they really know you, there's no barking.
Yeah,
And it's
a
just
great saying,
the
Nance.
barking is because they don't know you as a person.
Yeah.
They just know whatever they see, and that's not knowing
Well, I
you.
didn't read any of it at the time. I 100% made a promise to myself that I wouldn't click on because if I had, it would have destroyed me. And my heart and my soul and my mind were already in a really bad place.
Yeah.
So I don't need keyboard warriors to
No.
just really kick the carcass. You know what I mean? So I just never read any of it. And to this day, I'm proud of myself that I had the strength not to go, shit, what are people saying?
Yeah.
Who cares?
The noise.
Whatever.
The noise.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't know what I was going through.
No,
I don't know
100%.
I don't know what half the population's going through. I don't
No.
know why they think they.
That's right.
You never know what anyone's carrying with them
No,
on a
that's
day to day. And that's why the message that we always try to push here, is share kindness, share love, have a bit of empathy and compassion for those around you. And strangers.
Absolutely.
Don't be a prick.
Yeah,
If
no.
you see someone that's having a bit of a hard day, just
Yeah.
try to understand maybe.
And I'm very aware that I did some things when this was all going on I did some terrible things, but nothing you could say to me, Vince, or you could say to me, Nancy, could be worse than what I was saying in my own head.
Totally.
yes.
Totally.
Nothing you can say. So just shut up.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean,
Absolutely.
I get it. I fucked up here. I fucked up royally.
Everyone's got a story.
But have you fucked up, Vince? Have you fucked up,
100%.
Nancy? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like everyone.
Yeah.
So
Haters gonna hate.
Potato's going to potate.
Mm-hmm.
We just got to give ourselves a bit of grace, I think, some
Yeah.
days, and understand that, like you said, everybody's gone through something.
you have two choices when you hit rock bottom. right? You're at the bottom of the pool when you're drowning.
Yeah.
You can either put your feet on the floor
And push up.
or you can just stay down there
Yeah.
and wallow and probably die.
Yep.
You know, so I had no choice at times in my life but to push off the bottom of the pool, and I'm really glad I did. And people can say what they want about me, but I'm a survivor.
You,
100%.
oh my gosh, you are a survivor, and you pushed up, and you have come full circle, and you are kicking goals. Let me say, kicking goals in every aspect of your life, because an amazing mother. I've seen it firsthand. An amazing person, a career woman. You are brilliant at what you do.
So nice.
To hear your voice when you were not on our airwaves for a while,
could feel that.
it was different. Yeah. And when you were back on, it was like, oh, hell to the yeah. She back. And then your face, when it pops up on Channel 10, it's like a big hug.
Thank you.
Your stories that you deliver on Channel 10 when you're doing, your reporting, they're real.
Thank you.
So yeah, you just keep doing you, because you do you very well.
Thank you.
Very, very well, my friend.
Yeah, that's very nice.
And so very inspiring. You were, didn't batter an eyelid when it was like, who are we going to get for the Mother's Day special?
Jodie Oddy. Hands down.
Jodie Oddy.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I'm a shit mother sometimes. Like, it can be absolutely.
Aren't we all?
Oh, yeah, but
Aren't we all?
I literally this week, we went on holidays. We went on a family holiday. It was wonderful. It was beautiful. It was on the Gold Coast. Gorgeous. Stayed at the Star Residences, which is heaven. That was not paid for, by the way. It was just see, completely off the cuff. It was heaven. And we had a really great week. But my girls fought the whole week.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they fought. And they fought, and they fought, and they fought.
How old are they, Jodie?
So oldest is 23,
Yep.
12, 10 and 4.
Wow.
And the 4-year-old's a 4-year-old now.
So you had 12, 10, 4 with you?
Yeah.
With you. Okay, so yep.
Yep. And it was I just got sick of my own voice saying, can you girls stop? Because you know what they're like. They'll just niggle over everything.
Our boys do it too, don't worry.
No, I was just going to say, I don't have girls. I grew up with sisters, obviously, but I've got 2 boys, 5 and 3,
Yeah.
and very much at the moment, it's this morning was a rare moment where we were both getting ready in our room, and we could hear them down the corridor having like this beautiful interaction, and they're playing with each other so nicely. And I swear to God that happened. And then it's like, he punched me, he did this, no, you did that, you. And it's just like, can you two just please? Please.
Yeah.
So what were your lot
And you're
fighting
like,
over?
for the love of Christ.
Yeah.
You're on the Gold Coast.
Yes.
You've been shopping. You've got pretty much everything you've asked for. You've been to Wet n Wild and Dream World. We're living in paradise.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
And it's one of those things, isn't it, where you sort of like, they don't get it, but
No.
and we get it as parents,
Yeah.
like as adults as well. You're like, you've got everything. You got a beautiful house, every fucking toy you want. You're on the Gold Coast, exactly that. What's there to complain about?
I know, but they don't have perspective.
But they
at
don't
that
get the
age.
perspective. So that's when I find myself now with the boys, like having to really go back down and think about it and be like, they don't get anything. And I'm trying. That's actually really changed the whole time I spend with them. Really,
Yeah, right.
The things that would annoy me as a very aware adult, now when I go, let me be 5 years old for a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even just quantifying the time I spend with them, like I get 8.5 hours a day,
Yeah.
which is exceptional. Between 6:30 in the morning when everyone's up,
Yep.
to drop off at school, and then from pick up to bedtime, 8.5 hours a day. And now I asked myself the question only a few months ago: how do I want to spend that 8.5 hours? Do I want to spend it angry or frustrated or trying to explain to these boys every little thing and being worried about it, or do I want to actually be present with them?
You've got to
and
pick your battles.
pick
don't
your
you?
battles. And that's something that I've just found has really shifted my perspective as a parent.
So how did you overcome?
Yeah.
Well, no,
No, I
sorry,
didn't
why
know.
are you saying that you were a
No.
bad mum?
Well, because I had a tantrum.
And?
So on the Friday night, we were all out for dinner, and one of them was like, I feel sick. I think I've got indigestion. So I'm taking her to the chemist. And then the 4-year-old was just being like an absolute psychopath.
For terrorists, yeah, for sure.
And then the 12-year-old, she's just on that cusp of that teenage angsty sort of, so she is sulking. And I was just like, do you know what? Let's just go home. Mum's had enough. I got up, I paid the bill, and I left and I walked up. My poor mother was there, and she's like chasing after me. I'm like, no, don't speak to me, blah, blah, blah. So I think we all have our moments. But then how funny though, Nance, the next day this popped up on my screen, and I have to put my glasses on because I am aged. And it said, mums aren't angry. She's overwhelmed. She's burnt out. She puts everyone everyone else's needs before her own. She's exhausted from life admin. She's tired from carrying the mental load. She's overstimulated from the amount of noise her day is filled with. She's feeling intense mum guilt that anything she does isn't good enough. She doesn't recognise herself. She's drowning in motherhood, and it's often mistaken for anger.
Wow.
But, geez, I mean, the challenge for all of us, isn't it? Because that's where we're at. We're all overwhelmed, is how to not put that onto your kids.
Yeah.
And the guy, Hazy, who's my co-host on
Yes.
Nova, just came out on the air the other day, and he said him and his wife have a safe word. So when they're getting to the point where they can't cope anymore, their safe word is trenches. And it's trenches because we're in the trenches. I'm
So
not
the other one
angry at
knows
you.
to take over.
Yeah, he's mental. He's got like 4 under 5 or something. Wow. 4 under 5, 3 under 5. And they just trenches each other. And it makes them stop and go,
Yes.
yep, okay, I'm not actually angry at you. So, but my point to that tantrum story is we all have moments.
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
We're all human.
We're all human, yeah.
And, you know, social media nowadays only shows the gorgeousness of everything. And that's why some of these, you know, mum bloggers that are real and show some other stuff.
That's why the hell do you think they're so popular?
100%.
That's
100%.
exactly right, because it's not all, you know, ribbons and fairy tales and all of those things.
And I think that's the only reason I've had some sort of career in radio is because I couldn't even sanitize myself if I tried.
Yeah.
I couldn't bring a glossy version to the table.
Yep.
My life's too messy for that.
But I think
I'm not
that's-
fooling anyone if I'm chucking pictures on Instagram
Yes.
of my perfect life and my perfect children.
Yeah.
No one's
Yeah.
buying that.
Nah.
She's a fucking hot mess. I've seen it. You know what I mean?
That's the colour of life, though.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? That's the reality, and I
People
think
don't
that's so
wanna
special.
hear cookies and cream and rainbows.
No,
No.
misery loves company as well. That's
Yeah.
the thing, and I think when you see it, when people are actually sharing that, that's the part that goes, "Oh, thank you, thank you for sharing."
Yes.
that. I get it.
Yeah.
One of the things that, like, you know, even mentioning it in that quote that you just read out for us,
I came prepared.
you did come with that. I love that,
do my
and I
research,
feel like
thank you.
I feel like my wife has sent me that.
Yeah.
One of the things that I think is an interesting discussion piece. Mums lose their identity
Yes.
very differently. I think dads gain an identity. And let me explain that. I think,
I'll explain it for you. Let me cut you off.
yeah, no,
there.
please. I don't want to mansplain this.
I'll
Please.
explain it for
Yeah.
you because Dad does the school drop off, and everyone looks at Dad and goes,
What a hero.
freaking hero!
Yeah.
Isn't he amazing? Isn't he wonderful? Helping the mother out by doing the working mother out by doing the school drop off. Isn't that beautiful? No, that's your fucking job.
Yes.
Yes, we talked
had
about this many
conversation
times.
as well.
Where people would, like, a lot of dads that are like, "Oh, I've got to babysit." And it's like, you're not babysitting.
It's your
You're
kid.
a father. You're a parent, you dickhead. Like,
Got to baby. Oh.
Yeah.
babysitting, like when I have
Yes.
friends that call it babysitting, I lose it.
Yeah.
I can't deal with
My
that.
husband does it to antagonise me.
Oh no,
I have to
I can't.
babysit.
I got to babysit. I can't.
Yeah.
But it's the idea of, like, I guess, like, there's a lot of other layers for mothers. There's the mental, the physical changes, the hormonal changes, the obvious expected.
You're meant to know what
mental
to
load
do
of-
as soon as
yeah.
they come out.
Well, not just that, but even like the household, like you said, the sort of gender type roles that have been forced upon us over society over 100 years. And dads, we sort of just get given, like, we don't have that
Yeah.
physical connection. We don't lose our body. We might under a couple of packets of chips, but we don't get like those physical changes and then have an emotional connection. And I know that, like, the initial time you hold a baby for a dad is a bit like, wow, this is just another human being. Like,
Yeah.
you know, the connection can feel a little bit different. And then as they grow up, and I'm really in the thick of it now with Leo, who's just turned 5, and I'm the hero all of a sudden. So he's just like turned on Joya,
Yep.
doesn't want to know her. It's all about me. And that's really hard for her at the moment, which I see. And I find it very interesting how, like, we gain this idol,
Yeah.
the podium as a
Yes.
dad,
Yeah.
without then all of the expectations.
Yeah.
So
Simply by doing what you're supposed to do. Though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how frustrating
Yeah.
that is?
and
for women?
that's the point I think I'm trying to make here is
Yep.
that, like, I can only see that being a point of tension, and I think it's lovely when you do have partners, husbands, wives, co-parents, whatever they are, girlfriend, boyfriend, who then can say trenches and support and understand what that means, as opposed to it becoming that war between them, like,
Yeah.
I'm doing more, you're doing less,
Yeah.
I need you to do this or do that.
Yeah.
And with mums, depending on what you want to do, and sometimes it's well paid, sometimes you just love doing it. Like, for example, with my situation, you know, Eugene and I, when he was at the peak of his career, it was all about, no, I'm off. Like, When they've told they've got to leave, they're going.
Yeah.
They're going away for weeks
It's the
at a time.
Socceroos, mate. It's the Socceroos. You can't say no to the Socceroos.
Can't say no to
But do you
that.
know what I mean? And they can't. I get that. But they just go and they get to do their job.
Yeah.
Whereas you're left behind going like, okay, I wanted to do that job, but I'm going to have to call up and go, can't do that one now. And you get it, but you can't help but sometimes feel a little bit of resentment at times. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like, oh.
I think it swings and roundabouts too, though, in relationships. Like sometimes it's going to be your turn.
Yes.
Sometimes, and I love a man, Vince, that can recognise, all right, well, I've had my time just to go off and pursue my dreams and do what I want to do.
Yes.
Now I'm going to make it about her.
100%.
And that I thought that is it's the sexiest thing in the world.
Yes, it really is. But
I like that.
You know,
I
so
like that a lot.
Like I'm still in I'm in my own. No one's stopping me. Eugene isn't stopping me doing anything.
No,
but
but-
as the mother guilt, it's like, okay, yeah, sure, I can go try and do that. But then how am I going to juggle Jaden being picked up and dropped off because you are off early in the morning? And then, so I'm like, and then you get mum guilt, and then it's like, oh, this is too hard for me to do what I want to do.
The mum
so
guilt
I'm
comes in
going
so
to
many
drop it.
levels, and I'm only just, I see it as a husband myself. And tell me, you mentioned exercise before. That's a major thing for my wife. Like every day, got to have that.
Yep.
But she'll feel guilty to be like,
No, please stop.
can I just have half an hour? And I'll be like, don't ask.
No.
Like you have nothing to worry about. I'll go.
Yeah.
Because I know that I can do that. Where I'll be like, I'm going to go for a run. But I'll only pick the time when I'm like, for me, I'm like, the boys are asleep or whatever. Like, but when she needs, go. Like, you don't need my permission. I want that. And even like, I guess, like you were saying, Jodie, to take that time and be like, I know that I've had a career in the arts and media, and now running my own business, I have that flexibility to be at home and do more because I want to, this is your time. Like, what can I do to help lift you up?
Yeah.
And
You're
yet,
getting sexier by the second.
thank
Vince.
you. I'm
Oh
trying.
God! Okay, you two, don't sneeze. Please don't
Please don't
sneeze.
sneeze.
Please
But
don't sneeze.
it's the it's the inherent mum guilt that even though like you've got that and you've got the support and we want you to pursue your dreams, it's that conflict that I started with
something
before.
within
where
ourselves.
Even within herself, I can see where
Yes.
she's like, but I want, like, thank you for supporting and doing the drop off and doing the cooking, the dinners and helping out. I actually want to do more of that. But then she feels guilty that she's not doing it. And it's a real pull, and I can see that
is.
in her. So I guess, like, from as a husband, can I ask what is it that a husband could do? How could I do better to help her not feel that way? Because I just say it.
I think for most husbands, do what needs to be done without being asked.
Yeah, well, I
And you
do
don't,
that.
and I've stopped thanking. I used to thank.
Yeah, don't thank me.
That's stopped. I
And
used to
yeah.
because I used to think being an Italian girl,
Well, another
I
way.
had to do it all.
That's what you were
And
told.
do you give Huge like a little belly rub too when he does a good
Yeah,
job with the
what-
dishes?
Exactly right. So no, that has stopped because it's like, well, hang on a minute,
Yeah.
I don't need to thank
Does
you.
he thank you every time you do something? Right?
Absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely, and that not that he's being disrespectful. It's just like it's always been done, so he's just used to it.
I think it depends on the household as well. Like, don't get me wrong, we grew up in a house with 4 girls, mum and my 3 sisters, and it was very much gender roles. I'd say that wholeheartedly, right? And my mum, even though it was gender roles, she would always say to us as the boys as well, like, she used to belt me to keep my room clean, and now I'm such a neat freak, as you know. But she always used to be like, you need to be aware and say thank you and do all these things. And look how much I do. And she would. I would watch my mother from morning till night till she was flat run that house. And I know what goes into it. Yeah. And even with our house, the 4 of us, we have had that situation where we've sat down and gone, I need you to help out more with these things. And I'll go, well, I feel like I'm doing them. She goes, well, I don't see that. I go, okay, well, we do it differently, but there's a good conversation. Yeah. We have a volume disconnect. We think we're doing 100% or 50-50 each, but there's actually 200% volume here, and we're both doing 100%. So let's recalibrate and have that discussion. But I always say to the boys as well, you make sure you say thank you to your mum every single day. When mum does that, thank you, mum, for helping. Or like, boys, we're going to go do the dishes. Boys, we're going to go do and I probably don't do it enough. Yeah. I can sometimes be like, oh, just let me do it, please. Whereas now Joy is, please just let me do it. And now Joy is really good with like, no, let them do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, get the boys to do more of it.
But do you think how much of it is a responsibility for mothers to raise boys to be respectful and to do their lion's share? It's a big responsibility on mothers.
Yes.
I think so.
And I've got...
because it's easier for us because our natural inclination as people pleasers we'll do it.
Yep.
We'll just make everyone else
Yeah.
happy by just doing it, and then it's done.
Yep.
But I think, and I've never had boys, but I think we're doing our boys a massive disservice
Yes.
if we're doing everything for them.
1,000%.
Correct. And then, like I said, the pressure was put on myself from my childhood and whatever. But now, you know, as the years have gone on, I'm like, hang on a minute. This is how it should go because, you know, he gets up, he makes his bed, he does this, he does that. And
Yeah.
I don't thank him. That has to be done.
Correct.
You know, it
Correct.
has to be done. So, and if I put something in front of him that he hasn't been able to get for himself and I'll just take it away because he'll be like, oh, no, thanks, mummy, thank you. Because
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's going away until I hear some manners.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely it is very important for us mums to teach our sons to
Definitely.
do everything.
And dads should be teaching their sons too.
Yeah.
You have to.
Oh,
like,
of course.
Nance, do you think, and I'm just changing
Yeah.
tact here for a minute because this has been on my mind for the last couple of weeks. Do you think us women, combined with that combined with that mummy guilt,
Yes.
you double that down with an innate inclination not to realise your own worth? Do you think that's the perfect storm? Because, for example, you sat here and you said all these lovely things about me before, and I'm like, that's so lovely that you see that in me. I don't necessarily see that in myself. And I'm just at a phase in my life where I'm just looking at all these incredible women around me. None of them know how amazing they are. Why is that?
Yeah, I know.
You don't see yourself in the same light that other people see.
No, we
you.
don't, do we? We absolutely don't. And it's hard. Sometimes I think I have a bit of a mental battle that if someone sends me a message, just a nice message about something, I'm overwhelmed. Like it consumes me. I am an emotional mess because I'm like, the fact that someone has sent me that message, it must be, I don't know, some void or something with me that when someone verbalizes it, I feel like I love verbalizing to people
Yeah.
how special
You're very
they are.
nice. You're
But
very
I-
good at that.
No, but that's not fake. It's like,
No,
oh
I
my God,
know.
I need you to know. I need
I
you
think
to
that's
know.
one of your best qualities. I think that's one of the most endearing and
I think
connective
it's something
qualities that you have about saying
inside
that.
about maybe not hearing it or something. And I think we've spoken about this before. And let's not.
Do you think it could be that you feel seen? Not necessarily about hearing it, but like
I do.
you feel seen and you're like, those are probably the things you want to believe about yourself, but you have
need
that.
someone else to
you need
verbalise
someone else to say
Yeah.
it.
And I think maybe on a very different topic, and it's not something to, it's not a sympathy vote here, but I think possibly with me that I've chatted with you about before is losing dad at 13. I was eating a bit to my dad. And he was like, Nancy, look at her dance. He'd sit me on the table and get people to watch me. So at 13 was probably a, pinnacle time in my life, going through puberty and whatever that.
Teenage girls get their identity from their
Yes.
dads.
And so
That's just science.
he's gone.
Okay, I did not know that. I'm not going to talk about that then.
Yeah. But he's gone.
Yeah.
There's silence.
Yeah.
Because mum's got 5 kids on her own now. She's 43. She's got 5 kids. She's a widow. And there's a silence. There's no more, look at Nance. There's nothing.
Yeah. You're now the 5th child.
There's nothing. So I think it means so much to me when I hear anything like that because I'm like, oh, it's that voice again. It's coming back.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So for me, I think it has different weight.
Totally.
Yeah.
But I think it's, for me, because I missed it, I love giving it to people because I know how
really
it makes
nice,
me
Nance.
feel.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's not finish this conversation
No,
on
no.
on a low because it's been
No.
an awesome conversation.
you.
Because it's been a real conversation.
Yeah.
And it is motherhood. It's juggling. And yes, I've said it before. Vince can see it. You do it. You do it really well, Jodie. You really do.
It's funny when you were talking about that with your dad and that your mum was obviously struggling
Yeah.
with all these kids.
Yeah.
And I felt that with my eldest, I think, because I went through a hard time when her and her dad split up.
Yeah.
And I wasn't in a good space.
Yes.
And it's very hard because because I wasn't there for her.
Yeah.
I worry about what impact that's had over the journey as well.
Well, you guys have got this beautiful, relationship now, and she's a bit older. Maybe you can have the conversation.
Yeah.
know?
It's something to talk to her
Yeah.
about. But we just worry.
We do.
Just at the end of the day, you don't want to fuck your kids up.
No. And you won't. You
It's-
will not, my dear.
I feel like I've I had a lot to say for a conversation about motherhood, which is, this has been so beautiful. Can I say both of you are mothers that I get the privilege of witnessing day to day and from afar, Jodie, and from everything I know of you and having got to speak with you today. It's beautiful. I can see everything that I already expected and knew from afar as a fan and a follower, but like from Nancy's obviously recounting of your friendship is one of those things. My mum, still to this day, will bring food. Food is her love language.
Yeah.
She doesn't help out necessarily with the babysitting, which they do when they can, but like because there's so many kids and so many grandkids, they can't do it. And they're a bit older, mum and dad, so we don't expect them to do that. But food is the love language. So every day there's a phone call of some sort that's like, do you want this? I'm making this. Or she's doing a delivery to one of my siblings or me. We call it Fuba, Fusco Uber Eats. It just gets delivered at the doorstep, a big pot of sauce or something. But, you know, we're going through the trenches now that you mentioned, and a lot of families are, mums and dads. And it's the idea of, like mum says to us, she's like, you're in the thick of it now. And being a parent is the most important job you're ever going to have. And it's the hardest job you're ever going to have. And you need to understand right now, it never ends. She's like, look at me, 72. And all I do is worry about you guys. All I do is worry still about my children, my grandchildren. She goes, it never ends. I think the quicker you realise that, she says to me, you'll change that stress level a little bit because you just understand it's in perpetuity now. But yeah, like you're always going to be worrying. I think, like even now, and I'm like, I screamed at my son when he was 1. It was the middle of the night. He wouldn't stop crying, and I just did one of those like, stop, please stop.
Oh, God.
And it's like the loudest I think I've ever yelled to a child, not at him directly, but just to the universe. Stop.
I don't think there's a parent alive who
hasn't, right?
has yelled and had to walk out the door.
Yes.
But I literally for years, and Joy will tell you, I've been like, I ruined him with that moment. I think I've destroyed him. I think he's scared of me because of that.
Do I need to yell at you? No, you
No,
don't.
but like it's that, you know, I think what I'm trying to say is that everybody has those parent guilt. I can only imagine if I feel that level of guilt as a dad who can be a walk-in hero, and all dads out there know that. We've had that chat with guests and here before. I take my hat off, and I wish I could, as a husband and a brother, and I do say it, but I wish I could take some of that away from mothers like yourself who need to see from the outside how bloody good you are at holding it all together.
Yeah.
And it's okay to have those tantrums in a restaurant, be like, fuck it, we're leaving. Get the fuck in the car, we're going. I'm for that. I'm so for
Well,
it.
as this is going down, I'm just getting a call from the 12-year-old who's home with her sister at the moment, being like, "Where are you?"
Oh, okay.
She's murdering me, I gotta go.
So, to our Livin' listeners, thank you for being part of this Mother's Day episode of Livin' with our very, very, very special guest, Miss Jodie Oddy. Thank you for joining us,
Thank you so
Jodie.
much.
I really, really enjoyed that. Thank you so much.
And
guys.
happy Mother's Day for yesterday to all the fabulous mums out there, and maybe the dads that are taking the role of mums, or aunties or grandparents that are doing the mum role. Happy Mother's Day to
Happy
you.
Mother's Day, everybody.
Hope you got sleep. That's what we all want.
Sleep,
This is
absolutely.
Livin', guys. This is
We'll
11.
see you next week.
Am I living
Do not sneeze.
funny things?
No intention of.
No.
I don't need to have another one. I got enough. Thank you. Anyway, I might have a boy though. You do boys.
I do have strong genes of boys in our family, for sure.
On a cloudy day, always said, look up into the sky, find the sun on a cloudy day. On a cloudy day, Mama always said, look up into the sky. Am I living?
We love all our Livin' listeners, but you know what we'd love even more? We would absolutely love it if you could possibly hit that follow button.
Oh, don't just hit the follow button, hit the download button, hit the share button, hit the love button. 5 stars, guys. Chuck us a review if you felt so compelled.
hello@livinpodcast.com. Reach out, and maybe we can even come and visit your work site one day too.
Oh, we do love a good on-site recording, guys. hello@livinpodcast.com. We can't wait to hear from you soon.